Hello, live stream. My name is Cafe, and I am delirious because I have the flu. So I've got that going on for me. What you're here for today is a live stream about how to draw Rune Factory characters. Whoop! Alright, Rune Factory is a fantastic video game about farming, but also fighting. It is a really great video game. It's a series of video games that is a spin-off, but not really, of Harvest Moon, which is a farming game. No, it's not Farmville. It is way better than Farmville. I don't even want to talk about Farmville because it's not Farmville. Go away. It is a Harvest Moon is... It started on the SNES, I believe, or the NES. Either way, the 64 game is the best one. You farm. It's also a dating simulator. It's from Japan, and it's awesome. So, Rune Factory is the fantasy version of Harvest Moon where you actually get to fight stuff. And when you fight stuff, you get to capture that stuff, and that's your livestock. So, whoa, it's really cool. And you have to, like, defeat dungeons to be able to farm there. So, it's, like, really weird. This is what their drawing style looks like for the cover art. This is what I wanted to learn how to draw, because I've always liked their drawing style. One of the big pulls for me when I want to buy a new game is, like, the cover art, which I know that's a terrible thing, but Rune Factory, the cover art simulates what is the environment of the game. This guy's voiced by Vic Mignogna, and you can marry him, and it's the best. But someone else is voiced by Travis Willingham, so... it's hard to decide. Even if you don't like Rune Factory or Harvest Moon, this could be a useful tutorial for you for how to draw in general, or just trying out a new style. So, I have my own music going right now, so I encourage you to turn on your own music so that this is not totally silent and boring except for my stupid voice. So the artist that actually does this is Minako Iwasaki. I didn't f that up. Good for me. Okay. So, that is the actual woman who creates this art. It's one person. She uses watercolor, I think, with very rough pencils. And this is how she does a lot of her character design. If you look her up, she has a website with some of her other stuff, and all of her art kind of looks like this, and I really like it. Okay, so right off the bat, we see that this is not a digital style. This is obviously a very traditional style. So, we have to figure out how to replicate that in Photoshop. Unless you want to actually, like, get out a pad of paper and go and draw some stuff on some paper with some pencils and some waters and some colors and actually use real medium. But we're on computers, so we can't do that. And I actually find being on the computer easier, even though you have to, like, go around a river of confusion to figure out how to make it look like you didn't do it on the computer. It's a good skill to have anyway. First of all, I want you to know that this is an interactive drawing live stream, and I would like for you to draw along with me. Open Photoshop or your notebook or your face or a piece of paper or whatever you draw with, perhaps your younger siblings, and a pen. I don't care what you use, just try to draw along with me, and I'll try to give you some time to do that, so that we can all grow as artists and draw together and get better at the same time. And that's what the point of this series is. This is a slightly different anime manga drawing style than what some of us may be used to. If you look at her face initially, we see that there's a rounded top like everything else. She's got a pointed chin and a very defined jawline. Jawline or cheek line, I'm not sure. It doesn't really matter. But basically, that's the only shape of her head you get to work with. Her head's kind of tall if I draw her headline at that height. But she does have a cutesy thing that they do a lot of the time, which is create a very large forehead so that the character looks younger, cuter, and more feminine. I don't know if they do this on the other characters. Let's see. Let's find out. Not really. Yes, that's the boy main character. He doesn't count. He's weird. So, yeah, they do that for almost every character, so that is the part of the drawing style. So we are going to take note of that and move on. So they have a large forehead. As you can see, I've replicated that here. If you put her eyes up too high, she would look totally different and totally wrong. So, like, you can see her hairline is all the way up here, which is pretty extreme compared to some other stuff. She has large eyes. You can see the shape of her eyes. I will discuss that later. She does not have a lower eyelid that is very visible, so that's another stylistic choice. She has an extremely tiny nose, and a pretty typical anime mouth with a break in the middle showing that it has a fine line weight. That's her head. As for her body, she has ridiculously small shoulders. On a regular human being, your head is in the middle, and then you have about another half of your head's worth of shoulder on each side of you. She has no extra size of shoulder on her. Her head's almost as big as her shoulder line. Keeping that in mind with her pencil neck and her tiny shoulders, her torso is pretty much the same size as her shoulders, except for her hips get a lot bigger, actually, which is very nice in my opinion. She has a long torso, actually, which makes it kind of streamlines the line of her hip and her waist. So if you just look at that, that's probably where her waist is. Her crotch line's probably around here somewhere. So if she were wearing high underwear, that's kind of what that would look like. So she actually has really wide set hips for an anime character. A little bit of lengthy arms. Nothing too really weird here, nothing to decode here. Really, with trying to find out how to draw a new style, you just have to find out what distinguishes it from everything else. What makes it weird, or what makes it unique, or what makes it look totally messed up. With certain comic styles that I won't care to mention. Her thighs are a little bit long. If I put her hips in the right place, she's got her legs are kind of long, but not like clamp shoujo long. Those are really long legs. So she's got pretty typical shins and feet. Typical arms, maybe a little bit long, but whatever. Okay. And, that's not what I want to do. That's from my manga. Okay. She has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5 heads. She's 5.5 heads tall. So she's got pretty typical-ish anime child proportions, or cute character proportions. She's not a child because she can get married and have a kid in this game, but she's got young-looking proportions as far as anime goes. So if you look at her, you can see how big her hips are. Her hips are probably the most drastic part of her character, and the size of her shoulders. So anyway, besides all that craziness, let's get into the actual style of this.